Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for City of Greensboro news and information. Greensboro Transit Agency will change its delivery of paratransit services beginning in August. GTA's Access GSO will move the service of premium rider trips to the Access iRide service. This change is expected to affect approximately 300 active users who will receive notification by mail. Since 2019, the City of Greensboro has offered Access iRide, which is similar to Uber. Riders do not share a vehicle with other riders, and they receive door-to-door service by reservation only. Other benefits of iRide include the elimination of pickup windows, the ability to choose your favorite driver, and ride requests as early as 2 hours in advance. The vehicles are also accessible for wheelchairs or other mobility aids. Premium paratransit riders will be charged the same fare as Access GSO and GTA users at $2 per trip. GTA wants to know how riders feel about the upcoming change. The public can share input during a series of virtual meetings. The meetings will take place on the following dates and times: Thursday, May 12th at 6 p.m., Monday, May 16th at 1 p.m., Tuesday, June 7th at 6 p.m., and Wednesday, June 15th at 6 p.m. The city's Human Rights Commission is hosting the final session of its Let's Talk Law series. The topic is Immigration 101 and will take place from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, May 12th. The series is free, but registration is required. After registering, participants will be able to join the meeting via Zoom or by calling and joining by phone. Alexander Effie, immigration attorney with A.G. Linnett and Associates, will share the basics of the U.S. immigration system and why access to legal immigration support is so critical. Attendees are encouraged to ask questions during the session. Again, this is the final session of the 6-part series focused on access to legal assistance with various topics focused on immigration, expungement, probation, and parole. Greensboro's Human Rights Department and the Culture Crew Employee Resource Group are holding a diaper and essential toiletries drive to show support for our refugee community. The donations are being collected until Monday, May 23rd, in preparation of the World Refugee Day celebration. The following donations are needed: diapers, baby wipes, bar soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, sponges, deodorant, and regular size shampoo and conditioner, hand sanitizer, lotion, and dish soap. Donations can be dropped off in designated bins at the following locations Monday through Friday during regular business hours: Melvin Municipal Office Building on West Washington Street, Water Resources Operations Center on South Elm-Eugene Street, Lewis Recreation Center on Forest Lawn Drive, Griffin Recreation Center on Hilltop Road, Central Library on North Church Street, Dormition of the Theotokos Greek Orthodox Church on West Ridge Road, and the Cultural Arts Center on North Davie Street. Donations will be dispersed to refugees who attend the annual World Refugee Day celebration on Saturday, June 18th. This will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Hester Park. For more information, contact Jody Stanley at 336-412-5748 or Shadi Zidan at 336-373-2674. The city developed a partnership with Cone Health to share a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Following these tips is an easy way to help each of us improve our quality of life. Let's take a moment to check out today's news for your health.
Hi, I'm Laura Watson, registered dietitian with Cone Health Nutrition and Diabetes Education. There are a lot of mixed messages out there about healthy eating, so today we're going to unpack some do's and don'ts about healthy eating and how to make smart food choices. Because there are so many mixed messages about health and nutrition, it can be very confusing. Do be very selective about what you believe about health and nutrition. Do make sure that your information is coming from a licensed nutrition professional and that they are credentialed to give you that nutrition advice. Do be very wary of any fad diets. 95% of diets do not work. They are unsuccessful in the long term and cause weight regain. So do follow a balanced diet with a variety of different things and do include different types of food groups. We want to follow the general My Plate recommendations that incorporate a variety of different things, grains and proteins and vegetables, fruits and dairy products. Unless there is a medical reason why you need to avoid a certain food group, do not restrict your intake of any major food group. When we're talking about grains, we want to choose whole grains. So that includes things like oatmeal and whole wheat cereals, quinoa, whole wheat crackers. Okay, what we're looking for, guys, is in the ingredients list, we're looking for whole grains. So the very first ingredient should be whole. It could be whole wheat, it could be whole oat, it could be whole quinoa, it could be whole rice, but what we want to do is have the first word be whole. That's going to give you the most fiber and the most B vitamins. When we're talking about fats, we want to choose heart-healthy, unsaturated fats. That's going to be things like olive oil, or your Smart Balance or Promise Spread. These are made from vegetable-based spreads, so that they are not going to have any saturated or trans fat that increase your heart risk. We want to stay away from your saturated and trans fats. Now, most food companies have taken trans fats out of their products or have marketed that there's no trans fats, but it can be misleading. So in this product, it says that there's no trans fats, but if you look at the ingredients list, they can be hidden and they're called hydrogenated oils. And those is just a tricky word for trans fat. So we do want to avoid those types of products and stick with more of the heart-healthy liquid type things when we're doing our cooking and our seasoning. For your meat, we want to choose meats that have less marbling on them. So those are the white spots. So we want to choose things like poultry and fish more often. Lots of brightly colored fruits and vegetables. So fresh, frozen without sauce. Canned is fine as long as you dump out that the liquid that's in the can and wash that off, because that's really high in sodium. When we are eating, we want to practice mindful eating. So it's not just what you eat, but it's how you eat when we're talking about being healthy and making healthy eating choices. So a lot of us today are very, very busy, and a lot of times we eat more than what our bodies actually need when we're eating so quickly. So intuitive eating means sitting down at a table, turning off the TV, putting away your tablet, putting away the computer or the work, and taking a break to actually enjoy your meal. Take smaller bites. Savor that food that you're eating. Taste it. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it spicy? Does it need some salt? Do you even really like what you're eating? Make sure that you're actually enjoying that. Chew your food slowly. Put your fork down in between bites. Take a sip of your beverage in between bites. Make the meal last at least 20 or 30 minutes, as it takes 20 minutes for the signal from your stomach to reach your brain and tell you that you're full. As you're eating, check in with yourself mentally and see where you are in your fullness cues. As you're getting comfortably full, stop. Make sure that you are getting adequate hydration as well, because sometimes we feel like we're hungry when we're actually thirsty. So keep your bottle of water with you at all times and take sips of it throughout the day so that you can stay hydrated and focused. I hope you found these tips helpful. For more information, please visit us at conehealth.com/healthyeating. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Laura Watson.
The Transgender Task Force will host its regular monthly meeting, and Greensboro voters will see a bond referendum on the July ballot. We'll have those stories and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. A resolution approved by the Greensboro City Council paves the way for voters to consider whether they want to support a bond referendum up to $135 million. The money would be spent on general obligation bonds for a variety of city projects. Residents may vote yes or no on 5 separate bonds in the following categories: housing for a total of $30 million, parks and recreation in the amount of $70 million, firefighting facilities for a total of $14 million, law enforcement facilities in the amount of $6 million, and transportation for a total of $15 million. If a majority of registered voters cast a yes vote for this 2022 individual bond, the city will be authorized to borrow funds for that purpose. The referendum will be on the July 26 general election ballot. The city's Transgender Task Force is holding its monthly community meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 18th. Participants and the public can join the meeting via Zoom, or they can call in by dialing 301-715-8592. The Transgender Task Force was created with the support and direction of the Human Rights Department to address the varying needs of the transgender community in Greensboro. The task force examines rules, policies, and procedures that create discriminatory barriers for those who identify as transgender. The success of the task force is based on community participation by those who are directly impacted. For more information, call the Human Rights Department at 336-373-2038. The Greensboro Fire Department is about to wrap up its neighborhood visits. They will continue, or rather conclude, fire hydrant testing on Sunday, May 15th. All city hydrants will be tested to ensure they are working and able to produce the required water pressure when needed. Because this testing must be done during regular operating hours, it's impossible to know in advance where or when the testing will take place in any specific area. Opening a fire hydrant can cause a temporary discoloration of water. The discoloration is not harmful in any way and can be cleared up by running the water for a few minutes. If you observe a hydrant that is out of service or experiencing problems, contact the city's Water Resources Department, since the fire department does not perform maintenance on the hydrants. The partnerships between local government and nonprofit groups made it easy for the community to access COVID vaccines. Coming up after the break, find out how one agency takes the vaccination message door to door. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. Making sure residents had access to COVID vaccines was the focus of city and county officials, leading to successful partnerships with nonprofit groups. Joining me now to tell us about a vaccination program that relies heavily on volunteers is Giselle Mancy. She is the Latino Family Center Director with the YWCA. Hello, Giselle. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining me. So you are with Vax Connect. Tell us about Vax Connect and how did that program come about?
So Vax Connect really started out as an idea. When we started talking about it last year, and we're going on a year now, we were trying to figure out how can we reach people, marginalized populations, people that that didn't have access to the vaccine. People were going into all these different places, but what about people that didn't have cars, that were bedridden, that had whatever barrier? And so we came up with this pilot idea. And when we were in the idea phase, we were like, yeah, so what about canvassing? What if we go door to door and we just educate about the vaccine, and if they need it, we can schedule it and we can, partner with different agencies and be able to bring the vaccine to them, or be able to take them, provide them a ride, or, trying to remove those barriers for them to be able to get access to the vaccine. And so when we were, kind of throwing ideas, we're like, what's gonna work, right? And we all had like this vague, well, we're gonna canvas and we wanna reach people, but we wanna make sure that we're not forcing people. And so the number one thing that when we were coming together with different fundings, and this has been a partnership together with the Guilford County Health Department, with the Hayden Harmon Foundation, with Foundation for Healthy High Point, with the YWCA. And so we had all these different partners. And we wanted to make sure that, one, we had equitable access to the vaccine, that it was a partnership, but also, two, that we were bringing the education to the people. We were trying to build bridges. And if we rewind to a year ago when COVID came out, there was so much information. And we wanted to make sure that people were getting information straight from the Guilford County Health Department and not from TikTok or Facebook or Twitter, And so we were trained by the Guilford County Health Department. Dr. Van was spearheaded this whole training. We were able to ask any and all questions and really learn about the process of the vaccine and why it's important. Well, with that information, we train our Vax Connectors, who are canvassers, to go door to door, and we have seen a huge success. It's been a great partnership. And when we started about a year ago, we had to tweak. We also partner with the Guilford County Emergency Services. So we had a whole survey that we were asking. We were trying to, make sure that when we're canvassing these areas that we're capturing, where are we missing people, or where is the lack of information or the lack of resources? So truly how it started was just this grand idea that just then solidified, and a year later we have learned so much, but we have been able to remove so many barriers for people that, and for many as well, this was the first time that they were having an educational conversation with other people, that they were like, I've never been able to just have this conversation one-on-one with someone and really hear my fears, hear my story, and hear, what I went through during COVID. And so it has been a learning and educational experience for all of us, but it's also been amazing to see the work that we're doing, that it actually works.
Wonderful. So it's nice to know there's a success rate that you can actually point to. You were doing this both in High Point and Greensboro.
Yeah, so when we started with High Point because it was a pilot program. So we were in this idea phase. And when we started canvassing, we kind of said, I think we started with a 6-month pilot, and we're like, let's just see where it leads. And it's going to be a trial and error. And I told my team, I was like, it's going to be fluid. We're going to learn, and we're just going to, readjust. So my team, I told them first day, I'm like, everyone, be like water. Let's all be flexible. Let's learn. I'm learning, you're learning. And later on, we got extended. We were able, UNCG, at that point, we had, they shared with us, I think they did like a survey where they were showing certain census tracts that were in red, meaning that they were like low vaccination rates, were turning green. And so the county was able to see this, and they were like, wow, this is actually working. And so what we replicated in High Point, we're replicating now in Greensboro.
And how long are you going to continue doing this?
So we just found out literally this week that we are actually going to be extending for another year or so. So we are in the works of, because they just said, yes, we would like to continue. So it'll continue on, and we'll have, greater emphasis in Greensboro. But truly it has been a partnership with so many different agencies from the city, from the county, from nonprofits, volunteers. I mean, it's just been, I tell people it takes a village, and it's still taking a village to do this work.
Well, I like the fact that you call it Vax Connect, and you truly are connecting people to the vaccine in a way that does not make them feel pressured, as you said,
Correct.
But more informed. So now that you are extending this for another year, are you still in need of more volunteers?
Yes, I'm hiring Vax Connectors, but I'm also looking for volunteers. And the reason why we look for volunteers, during the canvassing, we go out in pairs, and we're all branded, and we're wearing our bright orange. And it says YWCA, Vax Connector, we have everything, we have decals. But with our volunteers, they bring, now we have our stories, and and we're trained, and we're giving you the educational piece, but with our volunteers, they bring the humanistic side. And our volunteers have been a key component to it, because when we go out in pairs, or sometimes in 3s, 4s, when we approach the person or the family, they want to know, like, did you get the vaccine, and what was your experience, right? That's the first thing they want to know. And they're like, well, I heard this, that, or the other. And they're able to say, like, this is what I went through, and this is how it benefited my family, and this is how, it's impacted, my loved ones. And so our volunteers are critical in moving the work forward too, because then we can also cover more areas. One of the things is because it's a one-on-one, we're canvassing, we're knocking on doors, and even though we're branded and there's that conversation piece, right? We want to make sure that we make that connection, and we want to make sure that we hear you. And like I said, we are not pressuring you. The whole point is not to say you have to get it. It's to say hey, what has been your experience? Do you want to get it? Do you have any barriers? How can we help you? We partner, when we started with the City of High Point, we partnered with the City of High Point Transportation, and we were providing them rides. We partnered with hospice, and so they were coming in to bring in the vaccine. And so we try to figure out the needs of the person standing in front of us, and we're able to say, okay, so I hear you, this is what you need, and this is what we can do for you. And that has been very successful, because a lot of people too, they work a lot, they don't have the time, and sometimes they don't even know. At one point when we were at the height, people didn't know, how do I do this? There's this website and that website, and by the time I went, it was all gone. And so we were able to be kind of a little back door and say, here's your appointment. They're waiting for you. So it's been great. And with Greensboro, what we're learning when we started, because we just slowly started rolling out Greensboro, is one, we're replicating what we did in High Point, but we're also learning that Greensboro is also very different. And so we're almost going back in time, where now we're reassessing. We're okay, Greensboro is a little bit different. It's still the same. We're neighbors, we're right there, but we're seeing that the needs are a little bit different. And so now we're learning, Greensboro, how is this gonna unfold? And I'm excited that we got extended for hopefully one more year. Well, it's gonna go about a year, but I'm excited that we got extended, because we'll be able to really, really learn and be able to compare the two, High Point and Greensboro. We're still Guilford County, we're still one family, right? But two different areas.
So before we go, we're almost out of time. How do they connect with you to be part of Vax Connect?
So they can visit our website, ywcahb.com. My email is gmancy@ywcahb.com. They can call the YWCA directly and ask for me. If you go on our Facebook, there's also information there. And so if you guys Google Vax Connect, you'll find all kinds of Vax Connect, Guilford County. You'll find all kinds of information, but definitely email me. You can call me. We'll do the number again. And I'll be more than happy to send you all the information, the links. The training is very easy. We'll brand you, and we're just so excited.
Wonderful. Well, Giselle, thank you for stopping by to tell us about Vax Connect, and we appreciate all that you're doing to make sure that there are no barriers for people who want to get the COVID vaccine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact you and our city is by attending or tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. The City Council has resumed meeting in the Katie Dorset Council Chamber on Level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building, located at 300 West Washington Street. The public is allowed in person, but only in a limited capacity. Those who choose not to be in the building can participate virtually. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. To review the council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. The International Civil Rights Center and Museum is accepting applications for its 2022 summer internship program. College juniors, seniors, and graduate level students are welcome to apply. The internship is paid, however, housing is not provided. Students will learn to apply best practices of museum education and interpretation. Interns will lead and participate in the development and implementation of innovative and engaging exhibits and programs. More broadly, the internship covers a mix of public engagement and behind-the-scenes work and participation in various museum operations and community outreach. Interested students should submit a cover letter stating how they might benefit the International Civil Rights Center and Museum, their resume, and academic transcript. The application deadline is Wednesday, May 18th. Submit applications by sending an email to LaTanya Wiley, the museum's Special Events Coordinator. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but first, let's meet our neighbors who boomeranged back to Greensboro.
My name is Tristan Bailey, and I moved back from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
My name is Mary Beth Maddox, and I came back to Greensboro from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I work at Guilford County Parks. I'm the Marketing and Special Events Coordinator. I never imagined as a single young black woman that I'd be able to afford a home on my own. I used the City of Greensboro's first-time homebuyers program to purchase my first home. I have to live in the home for 5 years and it's forgiven 100%.
Being a first-time homebuyer feels great. It really gives me a sense of independence, and I've just enjoyed really getting to put down roots here in Greensboro and also just making this place my own.
It feels great to be back in Greensboro. I went to college here at A&T about a decade ago, and so much has changed in Greensboro since I've been gone.
I'm the Marketing Services Specialist at Biscuitville's Restaurant Support Center, and I also just love how diverse Greensboro is. There are so many people from different walks of life here, so I enjoy meeting people and hearing all the different stories.
I came back to Greensboro because I was looking for new opportunities, and I knew I could find them here.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. There are only a few days remaining to submit a request for qualifications to Creative Greensboro. This is for artists interested in creating a mural on the highway retaining wall facing Hester Park in southwest Greensboro. North Carolina-based muralists can apply. However, Greensboro-based artists will receive priority consideration. The deadline to apply is 5 p.m. on Monday, May 16th. The artist will be selected by a stakeholder group of District 5 residents and members of the Greensboro Cultural Affairs Commission. A $30,000 contract will be awarded to the selected artist for project expenses. In addition to designing and installing a mural, the artist will be responsible for leading a community engagement meeting. The mural is expected to be installed early next spring. For more information and instructions on how to apply, please visit the city's website. Straight ahead on the other side of the break is this week's Way to Go GSO shout out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout out. This week's shout out goes to the City of Greensboro and YMCA. Parks and Recreation staff will partner with the YMCA of Greensboro to offer free outdoor yoga classes. Registration is not required, but you must bring your own mat. Classes will take place from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. each Tuesday from May 17th until June 21st. This class is appropriate for all skill levels and will meet at the gazebo in the Tanger Family Bicentennial Garden. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefings, which airs on 90.1 FM and 100.7 FM. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro, and now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.